The day the aliens came to Earth started like any other. The sky was blue, people went to work, and life went on as usual. Then the giant ships appeared above every major city on the planet. They did not attack. They waited. After 3 days of worldwide panic, the aliens finally spoke. They called themselves the Galactic Confederation, a group of 200 alien species who worked together to explore space. They had been watching Earth for many years. Now, they decided, humans were ready to join them among the stars. "We come in peace," their message said in every language on Earth. "We wish to welcome humanity to the wider galaxy." World leaders met in emergency meetings. After much debate, they chose Captain Jun Kim to be Earth's first representative to the aliens. Jun was 42 years old with short black hair and serious eyes. He had been a military engineer before becoming a Starship test pilot for the United Space Agency. He was calm, smart, and good at solving problems. "I'll do my best for all of humanity," Jun said at the press conference. He stood straight in his blue uniform, his voice steady despite the weight now on his shoulders. 2 weeks later, Jun found himself aboard the Confederation's diplomatic ship, meeting alien species he had never imagined. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange he couldn't tell their front from their back. The aliens used small devices that translated their many languages. The leader of the diplomatic mission was an alien named Commander Day Park. He looked mostly human except for his pale blue skin and eyes that reflected light like a cat's. Commander Park explained that he had chosen a Korean-style name to make Jun feel more comfortable. "It is our custom to gift new member species their first starship," Commander Park said as they walked through the huge alien vessel. "This allows you to begin exploring the galaxy under our guidance." Jun nodded. "Earth will be grateful for any technology you share with us." Commander Park's expression changed slightly. "The High Council has already chosen which ship you will receive." The next day, Commander Park took Jun to see humanity's gift. They traveled to a massive space dock where hundreds of ships floated in neat rows. They stopped at one of the smallest ships, an old vessel with a dull gray hull. It looked like it had seen better days. "This is the Ephemeral Dawn," Commander Park said. His voice was formal, but Jun noticed he didn't seem proud. "A Class D scout vessel. It will be perfect for your species' first steps into deep space." Jun walked around the small ship. It was about the size of a passenger airplane. The hull had patches and repairs. Compared to the gleaming ships nearby, it looked like a rusty old car next to new sports cars. "Thank you," Jun said, keeping his face neutral. "When can we begin training to operate it?" Later that night, Jun overheard 2 alien engineers talking. They didn't know he was nearby. "They gave the humans a Class D? Most new species get at least a Class C vessel," one said. "The Council thinks humans are unpredictable," the other replied. "Better to give them minimal resources until they prove themselves trustworthy." "That ship is practically space junk," the first one laughed. "Its propulsion system is centuries old. The weapons are just for show. It's the weakest ship in the entire fleet." Jun slipped away, his mind racing. The ship wasn't a generous gift, it was a test, or worse, a joke. When he returned to Earth, Jun was allowed to select his crew for the Ephemeral Dawn. He chose carefully, looking for people who could think outside the box. For chief engineer, he selected Hyun Lee, a woman with short hair and a reputation for brilliant but unusual solutions. She had once fixed a broken satellite with parts from a kitchen microwave. "They gave us junk," Hyun said when she first saw the ship. She ran her hand along the worn control panel. "Interesting. Let's see what we can do with it." Mi Song joined as navigation officer. She was tall and quiet, with a mind that understood space and mathematics in ways few others could. When shown the ship's outdated navigation system, she simply nodded and said, "Limitations breed creativity." For security chief, Jun picked Tae-yoon, a stocky former Special Forces soldier who could make a weapon out of almost anything. Tae walked through the ship with a thoughtful frown. "Not much to work with, but that just makes it a better challenge." The final crew member was Science Officer Ji Kung, a young physicist whose theories were often called impossible by his colleagues. When G saw the ship's basic sensor equipment, he smiled. Sometimes the simplest tools see what complex ones miss. Commander Park was assigned to stay with the humans during their training period. He watched with growing concern as the crew began to examine every inch of the old ship. The Council expects you to spend at least 1 Earth year learning to operate the basic systems, Commander Park told them during their first official meeting on board. Captain Kim nodded respectfully. We appreciate your guidance, Commander. We'll need to understand everything about this vessel. Of course, Commander Park said. But please remember, this ship is designed for simple scouting missions. It has clear limitations that cannot be overcome. After the meeting, when Commander Park had left, Captain Kim gathered his crew in the ship's small control room. Listen carefully, he said in a low voice. The Confederation didn't give us this ship as a generous gift. They gave us their worst vessel because they don't trust us yet. They think this ship will keep us in check. So we're supposed to be good little humans and stay in our lane? Engineer Lee asked, her eyes narrowing. Captain Kim smiled. No. We're going to show them what humans can really do. He placed his hand on the worn control panel of the ephemeral Dawn. They've given us a ship they think can't do much. Let's show them what humans can do with limitations. The crew exchanged looks of understanding. This wasn't just about operating an alien ship. This was about proving humanity's worth to a galaxy that underestimated them. First things first, Captain Kim said. Engineer Lee, I want you to study every inch of the propulsion system, find out how it works and how we might improve it. Already planning to, Hyun replied with a grin. Navigation officer song. Learn everything you can about their star charts and mapping systems. Me nodded. I'll find us paths they haven't considered. Security Chief Yoon, those weapon systems may be weak, but I bet they can be used in ways the aliens never imagined. Tai cracked his knuckles. Consider it done, Captain. And Science Officer Kang, see what you can learn about how this ship perceives and interacts with space itself. G's eyes lit up. I have some theories I've been wanting to test. Captain Kim looked at his crew with pride. The Confederation thinks they've given us a ship that will keep us in our place. Let's use it to break every limit they've set for us. As the humans began their work, Commander Park watched from a distance, unaware that the Confederation's smallest gift was about to become their biggest mistake. 1 month after receiving the ephemeral Dawn, the human crew had turned the ship's main hold into what they called the workshop. Tools and parts covered every surface. The walls displayed diagrams of ship systems that changed daily as the crew learned more. Commander Park entered the workshop and stopped in surprise. The humans had taken apart many of the ship's systems. Parts that should have been inside walls now sat on tables. What is happening here? Commander Park asked, his blue skin darkening with worry. This ship is Confederation property. Captain Kim looked up from a screen showing engine designs. With all respect, Commander, you gave this ship to humanity as a gift. You didn't say, we couldn't study how it works. Studying is one thing, taking it apart is another, Commander Park said. The training program is meant to teach you to operate the ship as it is. Engineer Lee joined them, wiping her hands on a cloth. Don't worry, Commander. We can put everything back exactly as it was. But first, we need to understand it. Commander. Park looked at the dismantled parts with concern. The Council expects progress reports. What should I tell them? Tell them we're learning faster than expected, Captain Kim said with a smile. After Commander Park left, the crew gathered around, a table with the ship's propulsion system laid out in pieces. What have you found? Captain Kim asked Engineer Lee. Hyun pointed to a crystal-like object at the center of the engine parts. This is amazing. Their propulsion isn't just about thrust. It uses what I'd call quantum slipstreams to slide through space. Can we improve it? Captain Kim asked. The system has safety limits built in, Hyun said. But if we bypass those, she smiled. We could channel energy differently, make it much more powerful. Do it, Captain Kim ordered. But make sure all changes can be hidden if needed. In another corner of the workshop, Navigation Officer Song sat surrounded by star charts glowing on screens. She had discovered something interesting. The navigation computer has less security than the weapon systems, Mi told Captain Kim. I can access all their star maps. Why is that useful? Captain Kim asked. Mai's eyes lit up with excitement. By studying their mapping algorithms, I'm building a new navigation system. It can calculate micro-jumps with incredible precision. Jumps their system wouldn't attempt. How precise? Captain Kim asked. Enough to take us places they'd consider. Too dangerous to go, Mi replied. Across the workshop, Security Chief Yoon and Science Officer Kang worked together on the ship's sensor and defense systems. These weapons aren't meant to do much damage, Tae said, pointing to what looked like small cannons. They're more like warning signals. Ji nodded, examining one of the cannons. But the focusing crystals inside are fascinating. They don't just project energy. They shape it. Shape it how? Tae asked. In ways that might temporarily change the physics around the ship, Ji explained. I think the Confederation only uses them at their lowest setting. Captain Kim joined them. And at higher settings? Ji shrugged. Unknown. But I have theories. For 3 months, the crew worked day and night. They made modifications to every system on the ship, always careful to make the changes look like normal operation to Commander Park. The Confederation expected humans to take a year just to learn basic ship functions. But after only 3 months, Captain Kim requested permission for a test flight. This is unusually fast progress, Commander Park said, reviewing the request. The standard training period is not complete. Humans learn quickly, Captain Kim replied. We'd like to show you what we've learned. Commander Park hesitated but finally agreed. A short flight only. Within this solar system. On the day of the test flight, the crew wore their new blue uniforms with Earth's flag on the shoulder. Commander Park came aboard to observe, sitting behind Captain Kim on the bridge. Navigation systems ready, Mi reported from her station. Engineering reports all systems normal, Hyun said, giving Captain Kim a subtle nod that meant their modifications were hidden but ready. Weapons and defense systems. Operational, Tae said with a small smile. Sensors active and recording, Ji added. Captain Kim turned to Commander Park. With your permission, Commander, we'd like to take the ephemeral Dawn on a loop around Earth's moon. Commander Park nodded. Proceed. But remember, this ship is only capable of basic maneuvering at slow speeds. Of course, Captain Kim said. Helm, take us out. The ephemeral Dawn moved smoothly out of the space dock. Once they were in open space, Captain Kim pressed a hidden button under his control panel. This activated a private communication system between the crew. All stations, prepare for Test 1, he said quietly. Engineer Lee, activate your modifications on my mark. As they approached the moon, Captain Kim gave the order. Mark. Engineer Lee pressed a sequence of commands on her panel. Deep inside the ship, safety protocols were bypassed. Energy flowed through the propulsion system in ways the Confederation had never attempted. The ephemeral Dawn suddenly surged forward with incredible speed. Commander Park was pushed back into his seat. By the Force. What's happening? He demanded. This ship cannot accelerate like this. Sorry, Commander, Captain Kim said calmly. We must have hit a pocket of unusual space conditions. They circled the moon in seconds rather than the minutes it should have taken. Commander Park stared at the screens in disbelief. Navigation, how about we try a slightly longer route? Captain Kim suggested. Perhaps to Mars and back? Course plotted, Mi replied. Ready when you are, Captain. Before Commander Park could object, the ship changed course. Using Mai's new navigation calculations, the ephemeral Dawn executed a series of micro-jumps that the Confederation would have considered impossible in such an old vessel. They reached Mars in minutes, rather than the days it should have taken. This is not possible, Commander Park said, checking the ship's readings. These speeds are beyond Class D capabilities. Perhaps your classification system needs updating, Captain Kim suggested politely. On the return journey, Captain Kim allowed Science Officer Kang to try his experiment. Sensors to maximum sensitivity, G ordered. Looking for what I call reality seams, points where space-time might be manipulated. Reality seams? Commander Park repeated. That concept doesn't exist in Confederation science. G smiled. It does now. The ship's sensors, reconfigured by G, detected patterns in space that Confederation ships had never looked for, places where the fabric of reality seemed thinner. I've found one, G announced, sending coordinates to navigation. Me changed their course slightly. Approaching the reality seam. Security, prepare the defensive system, Captain Kim ordered. Tai activated his modified version of the ship's defensive shields. Reality anchors ready, Captain. What are reality anchors? Commander Park asked, now completely confused. Instead of answering, Captain Kim gave the order. Engage. The ephemeral dawn directed its defensive energy at the reality seam. For 3 seconds, the ship seemed to flicker. Half of it appeared transparent, as if existing in 2 places at once. Then the ship vanished. Commander Park jumped to his feet. Where did we go? What happened? The ship reappeared, but the view on the screens had changed completely. Instead of Mars and Earth, they were surrounded by unfamiliar stars. Where are we? Commander Park demanded. Navigation Officer Song checked her readings. According to Confederation star charts, we're approximately 50 light-years from Earth. Impossible, Commander Park whispered. That would take weeks even for our most advanced ships. Captain Kim turned to face the stunned alien. Commander Park, please inform the Confederation High Council that humans appreciate their gift. We've found the ephemeral dawn quite educational. Commander Park stared at the human crew. Their weakest ship had just done the impossible. He realized with sudden clarity why the Council had been right to be cautious about humans, but for all the wrong reasons. I will report this immediately, he said, his voice unsteady. The Council needs to know that humans haven't merely improved the ship. They've fundamentally changed what it is. Captain Kim nodded. And this is just the beginning. News of the ephemeral dawn's impossible jump spread quickly through the Galactic Confederation. The High Council called an emergency meeting. How could humans in a Class D ship travel 50 light-years in seconds? It should have been impossible. 3 days after the test flight, a massive ship arrived near Earth. It was the Eternal Vigilance, the Confederation's most advanced scientific vessel. Its hull gleamed silver, and it was 10 times the size of the ephemeral dawn. Admiral Zahn, the ship's commander, was tall with forearms and metallic green skin. His eyes, all 3 of them, narrowed as he studied the human ship docked nearby. I expect to find deception or measurement error, Admiral Zahn told Commander Park. No Class D ship can do what you reported. I saw it with my own eyes. Commander, Park replied. These humans have done something unexpected. Captain Kim welcomed Admiral Zahn and his team of scientists aboard the ephemeral dawn. The human crew stood at attention, their faces serious but with pride in their eyes. We are honored by your interest in our modest ship, Captain Kim said. Admiral, Zahn looked around the bridge. It appeared normal, but sensors showed many changes hidden beneath the surface. We understand you've made modifications, the Admiral said. The High Council is concerned about potential dangers. Engineer Lee stepped forward. Would you like to see our Phase 2 modifications? We're implementing them now. Admiral Zahn blinked in surprise. Phase 2? What was Phase 1? Just basic improvements, Captain Kim said. The 50 light-year jump was simply a test of our initial work. The Admiral's 3 eyes widened. Show me these modifications. In the engine room, Engineer Lee showed the Confederation scientists how they had changed the ship's propulsion system. The aliens crowded around, taking readings and muttering to each other in their own languages. We discovered that your propulsion technology has much more potential than you use, Lee explained. By redirecting energy flow through these crystals at a different angle, we created what we call a reality slide. Impossible, one alien scientist said. Those crystals would shatter under such pressure. Lee smiled. They would, except we reinforced them with a field generated by the defense system. In another part of the ship, Science Officer Kang showed Admiral Zahn how they had repurposed the ship's sensors. Your sensors were designed to detect known energy patterns, G explained. We reconfigured them to look for what we call reality seams. What are these reality seams? Admiral Zahn asked. Places where space-time itself might be vulnerable to manipulation, G said. Think of reality as fabric. Most places it's thick and strong, but at certain points it's thinner. We can find those points now. Meanwhile, Security Chief Yoon demonstrated how they had changed the ship's defensive systems. These were designed as simple shields, Tay explained to the alien scientists, but we found they can project energy in much more interesting ways. He activated a control panel. Part of the ship's hull became slightly transparent, as if it wasn't fully there. What is happening? An alien scientist asked in alarm. We've turned the defensive shields into what we call reality anchors, Tay explained. They allow the ship to exist in two states at once. That's physically impossible, Admiral Zahn insisted. Tay shrugged. And yet, here we are. Navigation Officer Song showed the aliens her new navigation system. The Confederation scientists watched in amazement as her calculations predicted reality seams with perfect accuracy. Your original navigation system was good, Mi said. But it only saw the galaxy as fixed points connected by straight lines. We see it as a fabric that can be folded. By the end of the tour, Admiral Zahn was silent, his three eyes blinking rapidly as he processed what he had seen. The humans hadn't just improved the ship. They had reimagined what was possible. Back on the bridge, Captain Kim revealed their next plan. We're preparing for our most ambitious test, he said. We believe space isn't just something to travel through. It's something that can be folded, pinched, and manipulated. Admiral Zahn looked troubled. The High Council will want to study your modifications before any further tests. Captain Kim nodded respectfully. Of course, but perhaps you'd like to observe our test firsthand? We're ready to proceed today. The Admiral hesitated. Commander Park, who had been quiet during the tour, suddenly spoke up. I request permission to join the test flight, Commander Park said. I want to witness what happens. Admiral Zahn was surprised. You've seen what they did before. It could be dangerous. Exactly why someone from the Confederation should observe, Commander Park argued. After a long moment, Admiral Zahn agreed. Very well. A small team of our scientists will join you. I will observe from the eternal vigilance. 2 hours later, the ephemeral Dawn was ready for its test flight. Captain Kim sat in the command chair with Commander Park beside him. 3 Confederation scientists stood nervously at the back of the bridge. All systems ready, Captain, Engineer Lee reported. Navigation has located a promising reality seam, Mi added. Reality anchors at full power, Tay confirmed. Sensors calibrated to maximum sensitivity, G said. Captain Kim took a deep breath. Begin reality breach drive sequence. The ship moved. Away from Earth, accelerating faster than even the best Confederation vessels. The stars streaked past on the view screens. Approaching reality seam, Mi announced. Coordinates locked. Power at maximum, Hyun reported. Safety protocols are flexible. Commander Park leaned toward Captain Kim. What exactly will happen? Captain Kim smiled. We're not entirely sure. That's why we call it exploration. As they reached the reality seam, Captain Kim gave the order. Engage reality breach drive. The ephemeral Dawn didn't just move through space. It tore a hole in space-time itself. For a brief moment, the view screen showed swirling colors and impossible shapes, Commander Park gasped. The Confederation scientists stared in shock. The ship slipped through what Officer Song called the spaces between spaces. It was like taking a shortcut through reality itself. When they emerged, all was quiet for a moment. Then, Navigation Officer Song checked their position. Captain, she said, her voice filled with awe. We've traveled halfway across the galaxy, a distance that would take even the fastest Confederation ships 50 years to cross. Commander Park rushed to check the readings himself. This changes everything, He looked at Captain Kim with new understanding. You haven't just improved travel. You've broken our understanding of reality. The Confederation scientists were frantically taking readings and sending data back to the Eternal Vigilance. How did you even think to try this? Commander Park asked. Our best scientists never considered such possibilities. Captain Kim's answer was simple. You gave us a ship with so many limitations that we had to think beyond them. Sometimes the tighter the box, the harder we worked to think outside it. As alarms blared throughout the Confederation networks, the Bais High Council came to a terrifying realization. By giving innovation-obsessed humans the weakest ship in the fleet, they had presented them with the perfect challenge. Humans didn't see limitations. They saw starting points. The ephemeral dawn, once the joke of the Confederation fleet, had just changed galactic travel forever, and the humans were just getting started. 1 week after the ephemeral dawn's reality-breaking journey, Captain Kim and his crew stood before the Galactic Confederation's High Council. The Grand Council chamber was filled with representatives from 200 alien species. Some floated in special tanks, others needed breathing machines. All watched the humans with new interest. The High Council sat on a raised platform. Admiral Zahn stood before them, finishing his report. In conclusion, the humans have achieved what our science thought impossible, Admiral Zahn said. They traveled halfway across the galaxy in moments using a Class D vessel, our weakest ship. The head counselor, an ancient being with skin like tree bark, leaned forward. Captain Kim, explain how your species accomplished this. Captain Kim stepped forward. His blue uniform was pressed and perfect, but he kept his words simple. We didn't try to overcome the ship's limitations, he explained. We used them as starting points for new thinking. Your advanced ships didn't need innovation because they already worked well. Our ship required us to reimagine everything. But the physics involved, a counselor with 6 eyes objected. Our scientists say it should not be possible. Science, Officer Ji Kang stepped forward. With respect, counselor, the problem was in how you viewed reality. You saw space as a fixed thing to travel through. We saw it as a fabric that could be folded. Engineer Lee added, your ships are powerful enough to push through space quickly. Our ship wasn't, so we looked for ways to slip between spaces instead. The council chamber filled with murmurs as translation devices carried their words to all present. Your methods could be dangerous, another counselor warned. Tearing holes in reality might have consequences we don't understand. Security Chief Yoon nodded. That's why we created safety systems. Our reality anchors ensure the tiers heal themselves after we pass through. Navigation Officer Song explained further. We also map safe paths carefully. Not all reality seams are stable enough to use. The council deliberated for 3 hours. The human crew waited patiently. Finally, the head counselor announced their decision. The High Council has reached 2 conclusions, the ancient alien said. First, humanity is granted full membership in the Galactic Confederation, effective immediately. This is the fastest admission in our history, but your achievements warrant it. Captain Kim bowed slightly. Earth is honored. Second, the head counselor continued, we are establishing a new research initiative, the Reality Engineering Division. Humans and Confederation scientists will work together to safely explore what you have discovered. After the formal ceremony, Captain Kim found Commander Park waiting outside the council chamber. I expected your career would be damaged by your association with us, Captain Kim said. Commander Park's cat-like eyes reflected the light. Instead, I've been promoted. I will oversee the Joint Human Confederation research efforts. Is that a reward or a punishment? Captain Kim asked with a small smile. Perhaps both, Commander Park admitted. The Council wants me to keep an eye on you, but I requested the position. I've learned more in the past months than in decades before. 2 months later, the ephemeral Dawn was docked at the Confederation's main research station. The ship had been upgraded with new systems, but the core of the human modifications remained. Teams of alien scientists worked alongside the human crew, studying how they had broken reality. Captain Kim, now also serving as Earth's first ambassador, stood on the observation deck with Commander Park. Below them, ships moved in and out of the station. Among them was a new vessel, the first ship built using the principles the humans had discovered. "The Council is still nervous about your species," Commander Park admitted. "Some think we should have been more careful about what technology we shared." "Would that have made a difference?" Captain Kim asked. Commander Park considered the question. "Perhaps not. Your engineer Lee turned our waste recycling system into a matter replicator last week. I don't think limiting your access would have stopped human innovation." "We're explorers at heart," Captain Kim said. "Give us a wall and we'll find a way through it, over it, or around it." A technician approached them with a data pad. "Ambassador Kim, the Ephemeral Dawn is ready for its next test flight. The new enhancements have been installed." Captain Kim nodded. "Thank you. We'll be there shortly." After the technician left, Commander Park turned to Captain Kim. "There's a question that has been bothering me," he said. "Why did you work so hard to prove yourselves? You could have accepted the limitations of the ship we gave you. Most new species do." Captain Kim smiled. "That's not how humans work. We see limits as challenges. When you gave us your weakest ship, you weren't holding us back, you were motivating us." Commander Park shook his head slightly. "Giving humans the weakest ship in the fleet was perhaps our greatest mistake. Or maybe it was your greatest gift," Captain Kim replied. "Sometimes the tighter the box, the harder we work to think outside it." Below them, the Ephemeral Dawn glowed with new energy as it prepared for another test flight. Its hull now bore both Confederation symbols and Earth's flag. What had once been the weakest ship in the fleet now represented the future of galactic exploration. An hour later, Captain Kim and his original crew took their positions on the bridge. Commander Park stood to the side, now a willing observer, rather than a worried supervisor. "All systems ready," Engineer Lee reported. Her control panel now had both Confederation displays and human modifications working together. "Reality seam located," Navigation Officer Song announced. "This one appears stable and may lead to the Andromeda Galaxy. Reality anchors at full power," Security Chief Yoon confirmed. "Sensors calibrated," Science Officer Kang said. "Ready to record all data." Captain Kim looked at Commander Park. "Would you like to give the order, Commander? You're part of this journey too now." Commander Park hesitated, then nodded. "Engage reality breach drive." The Ephemeral Dawn moved forward, its systems humming with power. As it approached the reality seam, the ship's new enhancements activated. The tear in space-time opened with elegant precision, creating a beautiful swirl of colors and light. The ship slipped through the tear, traveling in seconds what would have taken millions of years by conventional travel. As they emerged on the other side, the crew stared in wonder at the view screens. Before them was a new galaxy, never before visited by the Confederation. "Navigation confirms we've reached Andromeda," Mai said, her voice filled with awe. "We're the first beings from our galaxy to reach this far." Captain Kim looked around at his crew, at the humans who had taken the worst the Confederation offered and turned it into the best humanity could give back. "This is just the beginning," he said. "There are countless realities waiting to be explored as..." The Ephemeral Dawn began its scans of this new frontier. The ship that was once considered junk had become the most important vessel in the history of galactic exploration. And humanity, once seen as unpredictable and dangerous, was now leading the way into a future where reality itself was no longer a limit, but a frontier to explore. The greatest joke the Confederation ever played, giving humans their weakest ship, had become the greatest gift the universe had ever received.